It is constantly assured, especially in our Tolstoyan tendencies, that when the lion lies down with the lamb becomes lamb-like. But that is brutal annexation and imperialism on part of the lamb. That is simply the lamb absorbing the lion instead of the lion eating the lamb. The real problem is, can the lion lie down with the lamb and still retain his royal ferocity? That is the problem the Church attempted. That is the miracle she achieved. G.K. Chesterton, Orthodoxy, 1908. I think about this quote from him a lot. The chapter in particular is about the paradoxes of Christianity and how seemingly contradictory nature of the Church's teachings. Only skeptics deal in absolutes after all, and in my experience, understanding the world means understanding its contradictory nature and embracing that paradox. I spent a lot of time as a youngster going through the YouTube atheist skeptic playlists where these epic atheists would debunk Christianity and creationism with their super rational and logical arguments and superior faculties. I had just finished one video where he had explained to me how Christianity is a fool's paradise, that it is an opium for the masses, and in fact that the world is dark and dreary with no joy and only depression, and that Christianity is a cope mechanism for these people so that they can think of that there is something better than there actually is. And no sooner had this video ended than the next one began, where he was now talking about how Christianity is a dark and dreary religion that muddles the water and makes what is already a beautiful and wonderful place that is the earth, makes it terrible, full of sin and no fun. And I can only imagine that this particular YouTuber have very dark tastes when what comes to fun. They said there is no fun without becoming embroiled in sin, and then you go to hell. And this made me think, how can Christianity at the same time be the white mask on a black world and also be the black mask on a white world? No sooner had one skeptic done criticizing Christianity for its square shape than I started hearing about another one saying that it's too round. It's for some pagans it's too pacifist, teaching people to turn the other cheeks, while at the same time libtards complain that it's all about war. Started the Crusades. Well, which one is it? The shape of Christianity kept getting weirder and weirder the more I heard these people talk about what it is about. Imagine, if you will, that you have never met a man, but you meet a lot of people who describe him to you. Now, tall man says that he's a very short man, and the short man says that he's very lanky, tall. Skinny men say that his girth is enormous, but the fat men laugh at his skinny bones. The Negroes of Africa say that his skin is pale and white, while Scandinavians say that he's a very dark-skinned man. Now, it could be that he's a very odd shape and color, or it might just be that he's the right shape and color. And that people who are complaining about his deficiencies and oddities are merely describing their own deficiencies and oddities. Like the screeching feminist harpies who claim that Christianity is nothing but forcing women to have children and reducing them to mere wombs. And on the opposite end you have the eugenicists worriedly rubbing their hands together, saying, oh, look, they're forcing their best and brightest to become monks and priests and be celibate. Well, it can't really be both at the same time, can it? Well, maybe it can. The truth is that the historic church has at one emphasized celibacy and emphasized the family. It has at once been fiercely for having children and fiercely for not having children. it has kept them side by side like two strong colors, red and white, like the red and white upon the shield of St. George. It has always had a healthy hatred of pink. It hates that combination of two colors, which is typical for the cringy YouTube skeptic. The thing here, what the church is attempting, is an incredibly difficult feat. It is trying to teach people that the world isn't black or white, and it certainly shouldn't be grey, but that it's black and white. The distinction seems minuscule, but it makes a world of difference. That it is a world of multiple colors, and not just one or the other, or everything mixed together into the mush of ideologies. The mush of compromise. Now, I've been accused on several occasions of being a deluded optimist when I talk pie in the sky about what we could be and what we could do and become. And at other times I've been described as a terribly cynic and pessimist when I describe how I see the world, full of pain and evil and mistakes. Awful. Well, you can't be a pessimist and an optimist at the same time, can you? They're the opposites. I disagree. I disagree with that very strongly. And I think that you should be a fierce optimist and a fierce pessimist at the same time. I believe this is the only right way of being. To completely abandon yourself to your passion, to your love and your hatred. And to let those things shine through you. It's only when you embrace this paradoxical, this contradictory nature in yourself that you can better understand the world. Now, personally, I hate politicians very much, and I make no secret about this, because to me, these people, the modern politician, embody the opposite of the ideal I try to espouse. These are people who seek compromise and tries to appease to as many different factions and interests simultaneously, because the game of politics does not reward or benefit people who are passionate about anything in particular. The politicians only ever attack conventional wisdom, but they don't even attack it with the conviction of somebody whose opinions matter. But enough about those people. What does all this mean? It means that you need some sort of balance, where these different factions can flourish side by side instead of one destroying the other. Go back to the original quote I was talking about the lion lying down with the lamb without becoming lamb-like. Can the warrior live in the same society as a bunch of lily-livered pacifists and still retain his warrior spirit? Well, sure, he should. And there's definitely something wrong if society has become so effeminate, so weak, that it's impossible to retain any other sort of fighting spirit. It's all being sapped by the nannies of society. This is why I'm making this video, is because I think that there is an imbalance in the world currently. I feel it, and I hope that you, dear viewer, can feel it too, because if you do, then this video is meant for you. If you feel that imbalance, there's something wrong in the world. The balance is incredibly hard, incredibly difficult to hold, but it's the only right balance that we should ever aspire towards creating in society. Everything else is secondary to this. Now you can, of course, go overboard. I hear people talking about the pendulum swinging in the opposite direction, and we go overboard the opposite direction from where we are now, and I can't imagine what the future is going to bring, nor do I pretend to know. But I do know this, is that the church is meant to be this sort of balance. It's a weight that weighs against the madness of each age, that stands its ground and tries to temper the insane ideas of the age we currently live in. And I like to remind people who believe this propaganda, this wishy-washy version of love and tolerance Christianity, that it's all that and nothing else. That's some 1990s bullshit that probably some libtard person has put in your head. Of course, there is a lot of emphasis, love and tolerance, Christianity, and there is a lot of emphasis on the other stuff. Remember, this religion was started by a man who told his followers to sell their cloaks and buy swords. This was started by a man who said that people who teach wickedness to the young and lead them astray, the only thing worth doing with those people is to tie a lodestone around their neck and fling them off a boat at the deepest end of an ocean. This is a man who chases moneylenders out of the temple, and throws over tables and calls his opponents the most slanderous words. This is a man who, is a rabble-rouser and a rebel. Christianity is always a revolutionary religion. It's a fighting religion, and it has a lot of room for people who are goddamn sick and tired of bullshit in our age and want to fight for that. This isn't just a religion for people who want to lay down and be non-pacifist. It's also, for the people who want to be a bit more active. And there's a lot of militancy in the religion because of that. This is what I think that we need more of in today's society, to bring back the balance, to remind people that there is room for lions, and that they should have some space, that they should retain their ferocity, even though they lie down with the lambs.